You ever notice how silence isn't really silent anymore? Everywhere we go, there's a hum. The buzz of power lines, the low drone of Wi Fi routers, the whisper of static behind the walls. But some folks around here, they say there's something hidden inside that noise, a frequency not listed on any map, not owned by any station, a ghost in the signal. They call it the hollow frequency. Welcome back to Tales of the Beard, where we have a good one. This, unfortunately, is going to be one of our last spooky season episodes as we're going to ramp into November. So sit back, enjoy, try not to get too creeped out. Back in 1998, Old Man Grayson was what you'd call a relic of a man. Former power company lineman, lived alone after his wife passed, spent his nights in a cluttered garage filled with radios, dials, wires, old tubes that glowed like dying embers. He wasn't crazy, just obsessed with noise. Said silence made him feel like something was waiting. Then one foggy night in October, just past 3 a.m., he tuned his shortwave to 143.7 FM, a number between two dead stations. And he heard it. It wasn't music. It wasn't static. It was a soft, pulsing hum, almost like a heartbeat, through wet fabric, and under it a voice, barely a whisper. You're still here. He thought it was feedback. He adjusted the gain, and the voice repeated, You're still. So he recorded it, sat listening for hours. By dawn, his neighbors called the cops about a strange humming sound echoing down the street. When they broke in, they found Grayson sitting perfectly upright, eyes wide open, skin gray, almost like something had drained him. But the recorder was still spinning, and on the tape, the whisper had now changed. Now you are dead. The story got buried for years. No local paper wanted that kind of panic. But in 2012, a SUNY Potsdam student named Lydia Harper picked up the same frequency while studying atmospheric noise patterns. She was actually testing signal drift during fog around 2:14 a.m. Her laptop spectrum analyzer caught an unexplained spike. So you know what she did? She started recording. Same pulsing tone, same tempo, but then something new. A faint count. 1, 2, 3, and it stopped at 7. Lydia's roommate found her hours later, still at her desk. Earbuds in. The audio was still playing. The coroner listened to everything in her body and unfortunately listed her cause of death as cardiac failure induced by seizure. But here's the part that they didn't release publicly, that her heart had stopped at exactly 2:21 a.m., 7 minutes after she pressed record. The audio file still online for about an hour before it vanished. Those who downloaded it claimed that the file didn't have 7 beats, it had 8 beats. And that's when a few conspiracy types started connecting the dots. Electrical crews, they noticed a pattern. Every time someone reported hearing the hollow frequency, a transformer within 5 miles would blow. Not explode, melt. The copper windings inside would liquefy, almost as if the kind of current had reversed and pushed power out instead of pulling it in. One lineman who spoke anonymously years later said he had opened a blown unit near Canton and found something inside the melted metal. It looked like almost bone fragments, tiny, like almost from a hand. The FCC quietly updated their internal record codes that year. HF, null event, unofficially described as untraceable analog interferences that resulted in fatal psychological response. Untraceable, fatal. Yeah, that sounds exactly like a horror movie, except it's real. And then 2019, truckers along Route 11 started talking about a strange sound breaking into their CB radios around foggy dawns. No one knew where it came from. It didn't show up on the GPS scanners, and it didn't repeat on any other frequency. They said it felt alive, like the sound wasn't being transmitted. It was reaching out. One driver actually described it perfectly. It ain't just noise. It's like something inside the airs trying to remember your voice. He recorded it on his dash cam mic. When he played it back, the hum faded and a whisper came through, slow, deliberate, heavy with breath, and said, "Stop recording." So he stopped, because when he looked up in his rearview mirror, his CB light was flashing in rhythm with the heartbeat that he heard. He quit driving. 2 weeks later, no one's heard from him since. Now, this part is where it stops being urban legend. A declassified Navy research memo from 1983, released under FOIA in 2022, mentions an experiment called Project Charon. The file describes tests involving psychotronic resonance frequencies transmitted via low-power FM bands to induce altered cognitive states. The location redacted, but the coordinates scribbled in the margin: 43.27 degrees north, 75.41 degrees west. That's just 20 miles from where Grayson first heard 143.7 FM. The report warned that sustained exposure beyond 7 minutes caused irreversible neurological degradation in cellular resonance. And at the bottom, there was a handwritten note: signal persists independently. Terminated access. Do not transmit again. But what was actually terminated? Why did a Potsdam student hear it 14 years later? Why do truckers still report the hum? Why does every foggy night bring static to the same part of the dial? Because if I have to mention this, if you're listening in your car right now, don't check your radio. Don't tune in and don't touch the dial, because the moment that you hear it, the hollow frequency hears you. And once it does, you're going to start to hear the hum everywhere. In the fridge, the walls, in your heartbeat. You're still here. Good night, everybody, and may your silence stay silent. Take care. We'll be back next week.